Hi, this is Jonathan Tiersten from the Perfect House and Sleepaway Camp, and you are listening to the Real Nerds Podcast.
Hey, Real Nerds listeners, your favorite host Ryan here to remind you that social media is great. How great is it? There's many ways you can find the Real Nerds on social media. You can download us on iTunes. You can listen to us streaming on Stitcher Radio. You can call us 720-6nerds5. Aw man, our website is so cool. You can visit our website, realnerdspodcast.com. You want to leave some fan mail? Oh, that's so easy, realnerds@gmail.com. Twitter? We got it, @real_nerds. You can even like us on Facebook. Thank you so much, and hey, enjoy the show. Welcome to Real Nerds Podcast, unofficially the official podcast of Denver Comic-Con 2015, which is this year on Memorial Day.
Yeah, it's like 4 days long.
It is. It's awesome.
It's going to be cool.
And they just announced another Power Ranger.
Yeah, the red one.
I don't know. Why are Power Rangers so popular right now?
I don't know why they're popular now. I know why they were popular when I was a kid. Because they were awesome.
No, that is a lie. They were never awesome.
Oh, my God. I had a lunchbox.
Did you really?
I did. Yep.
Why?
It was red because they were awesome, and I needed something to put my lunch in. So those two things.
I'm sure the guys from So Like You Know are really excited.
Right. Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, they remember I got that panel, and they
Right.
What did
They're
I-
like, you gave up, or you gave
No.
that up, and you got.
No, I gave them the Arrow panel. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Which I'm glad they had a good time.
Yeah, that was cool.
Good, anything I can do to help people, get them where they need to go. In fact, on Friday, tickets went on sale for Denver Comic-Con, so make sure that you get your ticket soon because it will sell out.
Oh, yeah.
When did it sell out? Last year, pretty soon. I think the VIP sold out in like the first couple days,
Yeah,
and
they
then the individual days lasted a little longer, but they eventually all went away too.
And they've made a couple announcements.
Yeah, nothing crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, but there'll be some good ones.
Yeah.
They're coming.
Also, if you're listening to this podcast through earbuds and you want some new ones, go to tweakedaudio.com, and at the checkout, type in Real Nerds, REELNERDS, and you'll get 20% off your whole order. And you'll be like, oh, cool, I got these great earbuds, and I got 20% off my order.
Yeah.
And also, if you're following us on Twitter, we do have a new Twitter handle. It's @RealNerds, just one word. Drop the underscore.
Yep.
It's because we're like official now. It's pretty great. How much is the complete series of Buffy like in one cool box?
49 is Angel, 58 was, but that was just on sale this week. Yeah, I'm just scrolling through, making sure that we have everything ready for the rest of the show.
Getting Angel for $50 and Buffy for $60, that's a steal, dude.
Yeah, I know. And I missed it. I didn't get Angel.
I have them all, but if the box set was cool, I would get it.
Yeah, it's the one that I have, so it's not as good as the old.
Yeah,
Buffy
that's what I mean.
set,
Like the one that used to come like in her little trunk or whatever it was.
Yeah, that was cool.
With Mr. Pointy. Mr. Pointy, boys and
It's still
girls,
good.
was her steak that she used to kill vampires with.
Yeah.
For all those listening out there, I thought I was going to do the show by myself. By the way, I'm with James. Hi, James.
Hi, me.
But we were able to work it out. Brad is neck deep, I guess, is now because he was knee deep last week, so now he's neck deep.
He's deeper.
He's like full. He's balls deep.
Every day goes by and he gets deeper and deeper.
Editing Jean-Claude Van Damme's Damn Van, which is premiering November 10th at the Bug Theater in Denver.
He's going hard in the paint. I learned the phrase "hard in the paint" this week.
Nice.
I don't think I've successfully used it properly yet.
That wasn't how you used it, but hey,
right.
Congrats. I like how you tried.
Cool.
What you been up to this week, James?
Not a lot. Yeah, not a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, just work.
Yeah,
a lot of work.
sucks sometimes.
Yeah. How's baby?
Baby's cute.
Yeah.
You just saw him. He's
I
getting
know.
pretty big, huh?
Yeah, he is. He's getting like adult hiccups and
Yeah.
that kind of shit.
Yeah, it's fun. It's one of those things where everyone says your life changes. And here's the thing. The biggest change that I've had to make is when I watch movies for our show or do stuff, I have to wait till he goes to bed.
Yeah.
So it's like a little later. I have
Yeah.
to, because I can't focus on a movie when he's around. Not that he's crying all the time, but, you know.
Just because he's distracting, because he's so adorable.
That's right. He's distracting.
Yeah. Because you'll be watching your show and somebody will be getting like killed brutally, and
Yep.
he'll just be like,
Yeah.
no. And you're like, oh,
That's right.
look at how cute you are.
Yeah, and again, I want to thank Zach for filling in for me while I was gone. I was back
Yeah.
last week, of course, for Robert Downey Jr. It was so funny when I found out when my baby was due, and just planning my life and see what I was going to do for the show, and I saw that Robert Downey Jr.'s new movie was literally 5 weeks after the due date. I said, well, I know when I'm coming back.
Yeah.
I don't know how many people guessed. I kept on leaving hints on Twitter all the time. And,
Yeah. It was pretty obvious.
yeah, I mean, if
At first, I figured it would be Gone Girl, just because that was one of the big movies of the fall. But then I realized, nah.
then you're like, wait, 1 week later is with Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
But every week we go see a new movie and we podcast our experience to the world. This week we went and saw Fury, the World War II drama starring Brad Pitt and
Yeah.
Shia LaBeouf.
Brad Pitt in a tank.
Yep. Where I guess the tank is like the star of the movie because it's in the
The
title.
tank is a part of, yeah.
Yeah, he's a character in the movie.
Yeah.
It's a character in the movie.
Fury the Tank.
Fury the Tank.
It's like a little, it's
That's
like
like a
a kid's
kid's
cartoon
book.
show. They should do like in the '90s. They would take like adult movies and make cartoon shows
Yeah.
out of them. So like RoboCop or Godzilla.
Yeah.
Well, Godzilla's sort of adult. That's what they should do. Is they should make like Fury the World War II tank.
He's
It's
trying
just his
so
adventures.
hard. Yeah.
where he's got to like fight tigers. Tiger the tanks.
As I was watching that movie, I always wondered: does Germany make movies with Nazis where they like hold up and they defend Germany?
Yeah, they were called World War II propaganda.
Yeah, I mean after World War II. I mean, are they just still so embarrassed by what they've did?
They're pretty.
That,
It's not a thing they like to talk about.
Yeah,
is my understanding.
But-
I don't think like when they do make like before the movie that we saw, they showed a clip from Downfall. It is actually what they used for the like don't talk during the movie. So and that movie was made in Germany by Germans. It's all in German. So that is a movie about World War II, but it was about how Hitler was a crazy pants and
Yeah.
it was about the last days of World War II. So
that,
oh, he's so cute.
that's my son's like fake cry.
Aw.
It's
He's-
cute. He's cute. He's wearing his Peyton Manning jersey like me.
Yeah, he's ready.
I know. I spent too much money on it. It was $24, but it was cute, so
Man.
I didn't fucking care.
Wow. It's like the size of,
Like your computer
one-
screen.
it's smaller than that even. Like it's just tiny.
Yeah, but it's fun. I don't care.
Yeah.
Me and my wife have money. I don't give a shit. Like, if I was poor and it was between him getting diapers and a Peyton Manning jersey, then I'd get the diapers.
Well, part of the fun of having a kid is getting to spoil the shit out of him,
Right.
which includes buying him tiny little adorable Peyton Manning jerseys.
That's right. But we also talk about box office numbers, things we've been watching, comic books. You have a comic book for me this week, James?
Maybe by the time we get there.
No, if you don't, I got one as always.
Okay, cool.
We also talk about things that are coming out and all that jazz. It's
Yeah.
a movie podcast.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about
Well,
things.
sometimes we sprinkle in video games. Like I've been playing
just
The
some
Evil
nonsense.
Within, and you've been playing Lord of the Rings: Shadow of Mordor.
Yeah, and some Alien Isolation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude, the Evil Within's pretty badass.
Is
It feels like Resident Evil 4, but with way less ammo, and now you have to sneak and kill zombies.
Yeah.
And it has
Is it all zombies or is it like?
no, it has a weird Silent Hill vibe to it. Where
Oh, okay.
and I think the title kind of gives away spoilers in the game,
Oh,
where
okay.
I think it's actually all in this dude's head because he goes back and forth between reality and, well, perceived reality and this hospital where you upgrade your abilities. But the hospital's like from the 30s and I don't know, at the beginning of the game, this isn't spoilers because it's like the first chapter, he goes and he's investigating this mass murder at a hospital. And while he's there, he kind of blacks out. And when he wakes up, he's running out of the hospital and the whole city is crumbling behind him.
Yeah.
Which to me is like a metaphor for his mind, maybe.
Yeah.
But there's some pretty scary parts in it. There's this butcher who's like killing people. And if he sees you, he'll chop your head off. And so you have to distract him and sneak around him. And it's like Metal Gear, but with Resident Evil dropped in.
Doo-doo.
Yeah. Doesn't have that at all. It's pretty fun. So between the two games, do you like Mordor or Isolation more?
Isolation's cool, like aesthetically. Like they just nail what it like they made that game so that it looks like the original Nostromo, like the first movie. So like the computer screens are old monitors and that kind of stuff, which is really awesome. And the alien, like I've been killed by the alien a couple times. It's kind of neat. And then they've got, so instead of having the ship you're on isn't a Weyland Yutani ship, it's this other company, and that other company decided, that robots that look like humans are a little bit too creepy, so instead they use robots that look a little bit closer. They look a little bit more like the robots from the iRobot, the Will Smith one,
yeah.
right? Which actually just means they're actually like a whole lot creepier.
Remember when that came out in 3D, and it's like the movie that was made for 3D.
Right, yeah, even though it was like 5 years after it was made and it was not made in 3D. Yeah. So they're really creepy looking robots, and they are just brutal. And so if they catch you in a place you're not supposed to be, they will just beat the shit out of you.
Nice.
Which that part's kind of
So
cool.
they're kind of like zombies, I guess.
You could see them that way, yeah. So you're sneaking around them a lot, and then like sometimes you'll be sneaking around a robot, and then you won't realize, like maybe you didn't notice that there was like stuff dripping from the ceiling, and you'll walk underneath a trap, and the alien will like reach down and grab you and kill you.
Nice.
But yeah, it's pretty fun.
See, I was torn between that game and The Evil Within. I chose The Evil Within because I like Resident Evil so much.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll wait till that game is out for a little bit, maybe drops in price. And
Shadows of Mordor though is I've only played maybe an hour and a half of it. It's pretty awesome though.
I heard it's pretty amazing.
It's like the Batman combat in an Assassin's Creed game, which
sweet.
already is pretty awesome. And then you've got all these like orc captains, right? That the idea is that I haven't run into this yet, but if you're fighting an orc captain and he gets away, he'll like level up and get some more minions and stuff like that, and then he'll come and find you again. Or if you fight him and he kills you, like he'll level up from having killed you, and so it creates like this animosity or this it's called the Nemesis system, where that guy will just become more and more powerful,
That's
and
pretty
eventually
cool.
you'll have to fight him when he's like super badass, right? But so far I've killed like 5 of them. Just like I just ran into them running around, and I just killed like 5 different captains.
So
and
later on in the game, you're going to go against a horde of like super orcs.
well, no, those guys are dead. Like that's the thing is if you kill them when they're weak, then they never level or come back. So it's just funny that none of them have killed me or beat me yet. So I don't have any nemesis yet.
Maybe they're just easing you into it.
Probably, I'm sure. But it's really cool, except that it takes place like a few hundred years after the original. So like there's this cool shot at the beginning where they they're sort of doing this monologue, and they're like, Mount Doom is where blah blah blah, and they show a shot of Mount Doom, and it's like green and luscious and beautiful, and you're like, holy shit, because it's way after the end, right? But then they say, but Sauron is starting to come back, and okay, Gollum is in the game, which weird because he's dead. So I'm waiting for them to explain that, and then the first time they did it was that the gates of Mordor are there, and I was like, nope, those are gone. Those shouldn't be there. What are you doing?
They rebuilt them.
Yeah, like why would you rebuild those? What are you doing? Like, well, we still need doors to
Maybe
this country.
the Hobbitses didn't kill Gollum.
Maybe
he didn't fall into the lava.
Yeah.
So is it the movie Gollum then, I'm guessing?
It is.
So
yeah, it's the same. I don't know if it's Andy Serkis. I don't think it is. I think it's just a different. It's somebody who sounds like him.
Yeah,
but it's
I mean,
modeled to
modeled
look
after.
Yeah, it's modeled to look like that. And he's got the same voice sounding.
I'm actually getting really excited. It's not next week. I think it's in 2 weeks. The extended edition of Desolation of Smaug comes out.
Oh yeah,
because it's like when I saw The Unexpected Journey after a year, and I rewatched it, I'm like, oh, that movie's actually pretty good. And so now that I liked Desolation more, I'm kind of waiting for.
Yeah. I'm excited to see how much stuff is in there and dig in, because I haven't seen it since theaters, because I didn't buy. Oh no, I did buy it. No, I've watched it.
You bought Desolation of Smaug?
Oh yeah. Because remember, this is that thing where like I knowingly will let them double dip
that's
me.
what I'm trying to decide if I want to do that for X-Men. I really liked the movie.
Yeah, I know.
And the thing is they're releasing another cut of it, but it's called the Rogue Cut. So is that the only thing that's going to be on the Blu-ray?
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't bought it yet either.
I should
for
just
the
get
same
it.
reason.
It's like $16 right now.
Oh yeah.
And then I should rent the Rogue Cut. I'm sure it'll be on Amazon Instant Video.
Or when it's also one of those things where they're saying they're going to do it, but it could be like the whole bloody affair for Kill Bill, where it's like a year and a half before they actually release it.
Yeah.
So
We'll see.
Might be better to just go ahead and bite the bullet because what it's like $10.
Yeah.
You know that you're really talking about because you're gonna end up trading in the old one to Tradesmart.
Yeah, you're
so
right.
it's like
I should just get it.
yeah. Me too.
Because the movie's really great.
I got so I got Hannibal season 2 this
I know
week.
you dropped off. I'm really excited.
Uh-huh.
I'm waiting for Fargo.
I watched a little bit of it, and I was just going to say, so I got Fargo this week, too. And it came with the coolest, like, Blu-ray extra I've
Really?
ever received.
What
Yeah.
is it?
I didn't know it was coming. It comes with a beanie, like, that says Fargo on
Really?
it. Yeah, like, it comes with a Fargo beanie.
And you just ordered that on Amazon, didn't know it came with it?
I didn't know it came with it. It just showed up, and it was in this, like, this big Amazon box. I was like, why? What? This should just be one Blu-ray. And when I open it up, there's this beanie inside. It was really weird.
Nice. Actually, I have a funny story about something from Amazon. So my Halloween 4 in my huge Halloween box set,
Yeah, it looks cool.
there's a sync issue about 46 minutes into the movie where it's like off like a quarter of a second. And it's not noticeable sometimes when people talk.
The
But,
first one or
the fourth movie.
Okay.
So, but when there's like gunfire or sound effects, it's really far behind, so it's really kind of distracting. And I was like, man, will they just send me another disc? I was like, fuck it, I'll just email Amazon and ask them.
Yeah.
So I emailed Amazon, and they're out of stock on it, so they're just going to give me the money back.
Holy shit.
Yeah. But they said if I don't send this one back in 30 days, then
Then they'll charge you for
they'll
it.
charge you. But then I went back, and I was just going to reorder it because I know they fixed the problem. So, because it wasn't just mine, it was all of them. And
Oh,
so
wow.
so I'm like, let's reorder it. And it's like $130. I'm like, what the fuck? So I emailed Amazon. I said, hey, I mean, it's cool that you're giving me the money back, but now I'm going to have to spend more money to get it back. I'm like, oh, don't worry about it. Just tell us, and we'll pay you the money, and we'll ship it the next day. It's like,
Holy
all
shit.
right.
Well, good job, Amazon.
Yeah.
That's
so Amazon
funny.
will always take care of you. I've only
So-
had a couple issues with them.
So the whole collection, the original printing of the collection, they're all messed up like that? Oh,
Yeah,
that
and it's so
sucks.
funny. I did that with Amazon, and I happened to go to Digital Bits, and in part of their news was, oh, if you just email Scream Factory, they'll send you a new disc for.
Oh, there you
for
go.
free.
Oh, okay, cool. Well,
s-
that's a good solution.
Yeah, so I mean, I'll probably just return that one and just get and I'll
yeah,
check
you,
it.
you
to see
already
if it
did all
works.
that work
Yeah.
with Amazon, yeah.
But if it doesn't, then I'll just email Scream Factory and they'll give me another one.
yeah. Man, that sucks.
Yeah, it must have been something with the coding of it or something because.
Yeah. Especially for like a company like that that's just getting big and being successful, you know, selling cult Blu-rays, that could really hurt.
What's really cool about Scream Factory, if you follow them, they always have all these movies that they're working on, and they give you the updates on them. And one of the movies they had coming out, I forget the name of it, but it's a really obscure, like, 70s horror movie. And for some reason, they couldn't get, like, a good print of it, and so they just canceled the title and told everybody they couldn't get a good print, and they didn't want to release an inferior product.
Wow.
And so they just canceled the whole thing.
I mean, too bad that they can't get a good product, but that's
I mean,
cool.
Yeah.
It's
instead of
good, it's
just
good that
putting-
they are that, you know, married to quality.
But anyways, what do you want to do first, James?
I don't know. How about some? We're talking about Blu-ray releases. Why don't we do that first?
Sure, sounds good.
DVD releases and Blu-rays.
Oh, I got something coming this week.
Yeah, you do.
I do. I have a couple things, actually, I think, this week. Oh, there it is.
So Snowpiercer comes out this week on Blu-ray.
Oh, speaking
So
of which,
this is
have
your
you ever
chance?
been to, sorry to interrupt, have you been to Blu-ray.com?
No, what is that?
It's a huge site that does nothing but Blu-ray reviews and releases.
Yeah.
It's like Digital Bits, but only for Blu-rays. It's really cool, and they have an app, which I've done, and you can scan all your Blu-rays in, and it keeps track of them for you, and like...
That's so masturbatory.
It is. It's
Like-
awesome. So Blu-ray.com is a cool website.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
But the Snowpiercer got a really high review on it because it has great special features,
Does
I
it?
said.
Oh, that's cool. Because that is one of the things. I think I remember us even talking about that. I wanted to see some of the special features on that when
Well,
it released.
I'm getting it, James, after I watch it. You're more than welcome to...
I will probably get it too.
Cool.
Just, yeah. I probably won't be getting the Purge Anarchy,
Yeah,
but if you're a
maybe
fan of the
next time.
Purge, then that's a thing you can get this week. Something called Earth to Echo.
That's that found footage of the alien thing, which looked interesting. It's filmed with like a bunch of kids.
It's actual found footage of somebody with an alien.
I wish. Then it'd be really cool. Then it'd be a show on the History Channel, searching for Echo.
Is it like is it like kids find an alien? Is it
Yeah.
like Starman? Or?
Yeah, basically. I heard it's a cross between E.T. and Flight of the Navigator.
Oh, okay. I like one of those movies.
Yeah, they're both pretty good.
Yes, they are both good
E.T.'s
movies.
better, but you know.
On the other side is Sex Tape.
I have no desire to see that, and I love Jason Segel.
Their privates have gone public is the tagline. Get it? Yeah, I like Jason Segel too.
I don't like Cameron Diaz though. I'll talk about her this week
I don't have a problem with Cameron Diaz
because I have
like,
a new person I'm going to be watching all their movies, which I've already seen most of them, but I'm going to rewatch
Is
them.
it Cameron Diaz?
Yes, it's Cameron Diaz.
I'm going to watch all the Cameron Diaz movies. The final the first half of the final season
That's a cool cover,
of Mad Men comes out this week. Yeah,
awesome.
it is really cool because they took, you don't like Mad Men, but they took, the original Mad Men, and then because they're getting into the early 70s through that cool painting in the background. It's pretty neat. Alice Cooper Raised the Dead.
Nice. I saw him live with Marilyn Manson with my wife.
Did you really?
Yeah, he's not bad.
Alice Cooper's cool. I don't listen to Alice Cooper, but I like him as a person.
Yeah.
Like, see him in interviews, and you're just like, you are totally aware of like who you
dude.
like. He's just so comfortable. But he's not still he's not like still putting on some kind of an act or anything like that. Like he's just I'm Alice Cooper.
Yeah. I mean, the show is really cool. You had tons of theatrics. I'd recommend go seeing them.
Cool. There's a movie called The Squad, which is from Shout Factory, coming out this week.
I don't know
no
what it is,
idea what it is.
It looks like some dude's terrified to be fighting.
Yeah.
What's the tagline?
In the war,
something
is out there.
Okay, so it's probably a war thing where there's a monster.
Great,
right.
Yeah, great tagline. Really descriptive. Wrong Turn 6, Last Resort.
It's so funny. I saw this.
Knew you'd like this one.
I saw this like last week, and I told my wife, I'm like, I cannot believe they're making another fucking one of these. And she said there's 6 on it. I said, that means, okay, so, I mean, what do you think the budget of these are? $2 to $3 million would be my guess.
At best, yes.
My guess is $2 to $3 million. That means they make enough money to continuously make them.
Mm-hmm.
And the 5th one I saw because there's a big long-running joke when we went to Telluride Horror Show a couple years ago.
Right. Because they had all these posters and nobody gave a shit
took
about
them.
them.
And so I watched it. It was awful. In fact, I think it was the worst movie of the year I had.
I think it was, yeah.
When
you
did
put
my
it over,
list.
even though we saw Creature that year,
Yeah.
I think that you put it underneath Creature. Or Twilight.
Twilight, yeah. So because at least Twilight had Billy Burke in it, where he knew, like he knew he was in a shitty movie, and he acted like he was in a shitty movie.
Oh, Billy Burke. Yeah.
But, yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, so this is your chance to see Wrong Turn 6, which I feel like has the exact same cover of all the other Wrong
Pretty
Turns.
much. It has some dude with a knife and then some, like, half-naked chick bloodied.
Yep. And then the unrated, the exact same unrated font.
And do they really need to put unrated when it's direct to Blu-ray?
Right, exactly. Yeah. Well, just they want to show off the fact they didn't spend any money having the MPAA like actually take a look at it. So
I know, or dude, it would be cool if like some big director, Spielberg, Raimi, Christopher Nolan, decided not to put a rating on their movie and just released it and see how well it would do.
Yeah,
that'd be awesome if they did that.
That would be cool.
But theaters won't show it.
On the complete opposite side of the spectrum, La Dolce Vita is coming out on Criterion this week, which I've never seen, so now it's probably a good chance for me to check it out. Life After Beth, which I actually really like the trailer for this movie, so I might check this out. Yeah. I didn't realize I must have like gone to theaters and then gone straight to DVD. So
it's an Aubrey Plaza zombie romance.
Yeah, it's like the opposite of Warm Bodies.
Yeah,
where the girl is a zombie, but she is more like she's dead, but she is more thinking, like she's still talking and stuff.
Yeah, we'll see. I want to see it too. I'm glad that it's out.
Yeah, and then Bob Ross Seascape with Lighthouse is our very last release of this week.
So pick up Bob Ross. He's been dead for 25 years.
I used to in high school. We used to go to my house and watch some Bob Ross in the afternoon. Just like me and my friends. We were weird.
No, I think everybody watched Bob Ross at one point.
I loved Bob Ross.
Yeah, he didn't hurt anybody. Right?
No. Cool. That's this week.
Cool. This is what was the #1 movie at the box office.
This is the box office stats.
It was hard this week because, Box Office Mojo shut down for a little bit.
Yeah. What was going on with that? Did they ever say anything?
They never said anything. Maybe a problem with the servers or something.
Yeah, probably.
Gone Girl repeated with 26 million.
Uh-huh.
I saw it this week, so I'll talk about it a little later.
Oh, good. Cool.
The movie we saw, The Judge, did 15?
13. I'm
13?
saying 13, yeah.
Which is another movie that's probably going to have long legs.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, it might not make a ton of money, but it's still a good movie. You should go check it out.
And it's interesting. Shoot, I just moved away from the page because I wanted to look at something else. But they, like my folks were going to go see it the other night, and it was completely sold out at the Alamo, or at least really close to sold out.
Yeah,
so
I think
it
it's
could
one of those
just be
movies because it skews older, so people don't
Yeah.
rush out to see it. So it's probably going to be
I mean,
hang out for a while.
Yeah, it's in 3,000 theaters, so it's not like it's a soft release or anything. But anyway, it'd be nice if we were doing better because it's surprising to me that like Alexander and the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day is doing so well. It's got some great actors in it, but that trailer just to me looks like it tells you the whole movie.
And it's placating to kids, not us.
I guess so. Yeah.
Maybe my son will really like it.
Yeah.
Or I will. I really laugh every time I look at my Blu-ray collection. I have 3 levels of Disney and then like 4 of horror. So
Right.
the 2 that I have the most of are Disney and horror.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's all right.
Well, you'll get him through the first 10 years, and then the
Yeah.
rest will get him through the next.
Yeah. Right.
Right.
Sweet. Hey, real news.
Okay.
It's real news.
A lot of stuff this week, so we'll bounce around and talk
Cool.
about all of the different things that are going on.
Cool.
Neil Patrick Harris is going to host the Oscars this year.
That's a good choice.
Yeah, it is. I think he'll be really good. Not bad at all.
No, he's always really entertaining and
Yeah. Makes a lot of sense because I think he could be genuinely funny and entertaining.
I think I was reading a
while-
thing where he's hosted like 6 Tonys and 3
Yeah.
Emmys or something.
Yeah,
so
he's
he's
got
going to
some-
know what to do. And
Yeah, totally. Big news this week, though, is that it was announced that HBO next year is going to allow people to buy or subscribe to HBO Go without subscribing to cable,
That's big.
which is like not the first nail and not the last nail, but it is one of the nails in the coffin of the way that we consume television now. We're starting to see some of the premium cable people switch over to allow people to
well, they
just,
should be doing
just
that
get stuff a la
anyways,
carte.
because
Oh, totally.
that's the thing that always irked me with my cable right now is I have 57 channels. I don't know, it's a guess that I don't even flip to.
Right.
Like after I think 198 is like the sci-fi channel or Discovery Science or whatever. After there, I never scroll up anymore because
Yeah.
it's 20 channels of like Christian stuff, 20 channels of shopping.
Right.
They should let you pick the channels you want.
Yeah, and then the channels that don't get enough support to stick around, then they got to sort of compete and figure out how to make content that makes people want to come watch them. But there's all these channels that just sort of exist but don't really do anything or are just selling stuff to people or whatever. But it's weird. Dan my roommate got HBO for free because he called Comcast and complained about something, and they just gave him a year of HBO for free.
Nice.
Which it's awesome. But we don't use that. We just use the HBO Go app on the Xbox when we want to watch Leftovers or something like that. So I would gladly subscribe to just HBO Go.
Yeah, I mean, how much do they say how much it's going to be a month?
No, I don't think they've
Probably
said yet.
$10.
But even if it's one of those things they can play around with it for a while, and have specials and stuff like that. They're going to make a lot of money doing this. Because I could convince my parents to buy HBO Go. Because the way it works with HBO Go, you get everything in their catalog. So it almost becomes stupid not to have it because it's this month, there was a year ago, my parents were toying around with watching Deadwood, which they would never have enjoyed Deadwood because they say cocksucker way too much.
Yeah.
But still, if you were sitting there thinking oh man, I'd really like to watch through Deadwood, it would
But-
price wise, it would make sense for you to just subscribe
Exactly.
to HBO Go and
I mean,
have it.
In your case, would you ever have watched New Girl on TV, but that you can stream it? You're like, oh,
Oh, totally.
I can watch it.
Exactly. No, I never would have
And so if
gone out of
those-
my way to watch New Girl.
If those options are available on
Nor,
HBO,
nor
then-
should most people, but
Yeah.
I'm still watching it. Almost done with all 3 seasons.
Nice.
Yeah, and then sort of to dovetail with that is that CBS is also introducing their own streaming system like that. So I just feel like we're starting to, and probably next year you will begin to see a real shift in the way that we think about consuming television, and that sort of cutting the cable is going to be, it already is a totally viable thing now, but if you're somebody like us who really likes to be up on the television that's coming out right now, I think it's going to be a lot more viable option.
Yeah,
for
and it
people.
makes more sense.
Totally.
It just make it so you can watch it.
Yeah, because I would gladly just pay for the content. I don't, but the content doesn't come to me the way that I want it to.
Yeah.
I work 12 hours a day. When I get home, I start watching TV while I eat, and I don't necessarily start watching at the top of the hour
And here's the
or
thing,
in the room
yeah.
where I have a DVR or
And things with like HBO, those are shows you have to pay attention to. You just
Yeah.
can't, have it on in the background or something.
Yeah.
So yeah,
and especially for the premium guys where they're not making their money on advertising anyway, like it just makes sense. Like you got to go if you want to make money in today's market, you've got to go wherever the audience is, and the audience is on the internet.
Yeah.
So it
Because
makes
now how much I love physical things, it's just not the way it is anymore.
yeah,
Physical things are going to be for the collectors like me.
yeah.
But
And it'll still be there.
Yeah.
Like I'll still be the same way where, just recently I almost bought like a couple of seasons of Dexter that I may not watch really. I really like that show, but the idea that I'm going to sit down and like put in a Blu-ray and watch Dexter seems a little bit weird to me. But I just like having those things, especially
Yeah.
when I love a show. I like to
no, me too.
to be able to put it on my shelf and know that I have it and that kind of stuff. That's still going to be available. It's just this allows you to get your content to a much wider market.
Yep.
Cool. Sam Raimi is going to direct a movie called Love May Fail, which is from the guy who wrote the Silver Linings Playbook, the original novel.
Very cool.
Which is interesting. Did you read much about this?
No, I didn't even know. You telling me about it's the first I heard about it.
Okay. I don't. Yeah, I don't know much about the story, but it sounds like it's him going more in a for love of the game direction, where he's going to direct something that's not
That makes sense.
not slapsticky or horrific or big and bombastic or anything like that.
It
So-
makes sense. He did that, for a little bit in the middle part of his career when he did A Simple Plan and For the Love of the Game. So he's still a great storyteller. So I'm sure it'll still be a great movie.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. Like just the idea of somebody like him taking a left turn and doing something different for a little while is always interesting. And then we got a whole lot of superhero stuff to talk about.
Yeah, this one makes me excited.
So we'll just bounce around to all the different things that happened this week. There's a lot of chatter about who's going to play Doctor Strange. Nothing is cast, and we don't really talk about that stuff very
It
often.
doesn't
but
matter yet.
yeah, but almost all of the options they have to me make a lot of sense
Yeah.
and are cool. I
could
think I'm
see-
in.
I like Ewan McGregor.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's probably my favorite of the
too.
people they've said so far, just because he's a little bit outside the normal wheelhouse for a superhero movie in my mind. But the other thing there's been a lot of chatter about is the idea that Captain America 3 is going to be a Civil War storyline.
I think it's actually a great idea.
I do too.
And two, they keep on saying Iron Man, but I bet it's only Tony Stark that's going to be in Captain America 3.
Ooh.
Because if it's the build-up for Avengers 3, which is going to be Civil War.
Right.
See, now, okay, this is my fanboy.
Wait. So you're saying that Avengers 3 is going to be Civil War?
Yeah. So here's because they're going to say
So then when's
they're saying
Thanos?
3 and 4 is like filming
back to back?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you make Civil War, and then Thanos comes down when the heroes are divided and wants to take them out, and they have to band together again to finish them.
Ah, that would be pretty cool.
So here's my thing, though. I was talking to Andrew about this yesterday.
All right.
So remember that too. Sony and Marvel are trying to work out to get Spider-Man into
Who is a very important
He
part
is-
of
the second most important character in Civil War because he makes the decision that he's going to reveal his identity to the world, and when he finds out what it does and how Iron Man treats everybody, he goes to Captain America's side. So he's like the guy. He's
the flip flopper.
He's a flip flopper. So he's an integral part of advancing the story.
Yeah.
And I think Civil War actually lends itself really well cinematically.
Yeah.
Like a lot of Mark Miller's big stories.
Yeah.
I think the ending's a little bit of a downer. Hopefully they.
Yeah, but if that's where you end the
Oh,
first part,
dude.
and then Thanos comes in, and you're just like, oh my!
I won't
gosh.
spoil how Civil War ends. You can pick up the trade paperback at
Yeah.
Comic Coins, Cards, and Comics for 20% off.
Most people know that it happened, but don't necessarily.
Yeah. But, oh, dude, it'd be so good.
It
And
would be.
then you could tie in Captain America 25 to it.
And I feel like, so I was gonna say that I feel like you would be sort of blowing your load as far as like some of the great stories you could tell in a Marvel Cinematic Universe. But the truth is, at that point, a lot of your characters and actors are going to be in a place where you're going to need to start changing them out anyway. So you're going to kind of need to take a break, start building a new team. Move away from your Iron Mans and your Captain Americas and some of those guys anyway. So it kind of makes sense to tell those stories. And then take a couple of years where you're focusing on other characters, other superheroes that we haven't seen a lot of.
And it's such a great story. Anytime you have Captain America challenge America, I think it's a great story.
Oh yeah, I mean, that's why part of why a lot of people liked Winter Soldier this time.
Yeah. So I'm all for it, and I don't know if Iron Man's actually I'm going to say it's just Tony Stark.
I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. I'm sure Iron Man will show up, but
Yeah.
it makes sense to me if Tony Stark was in it.
Yeah. It'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
But I will say that if they drag out the Thanos story beyond Avengers 3, I think they're beyond an Avengers 3 and 4 film, I think they're probably making a mistake.
Or what if Thanos
if
is just the bad guy in Guardians 2, though?
That'd be cool, I guess. Yeah.
I don't know. The Guardian. We'll see.
I don't know. Yeah. I want all of that to tie. Like no, they can't do that. The payoff has to be the Avengers fighting Thanos, right? With the Guardians there.
Sure.
Right? Like you've got to have all of that together. Because especially if you...
And then you have Peter Quill come out. It's like, somebody call backup while they're fighting Thanos.
Yeah! Oh, man. Oh, it's too cool. And then we got a whole lot of... Okay, so there's rumors about Robin in Batman and Superman, which I had a dream this week that I was the Batman, which was a pretty cool dream, except that there was also... I was the Batman in Batman and Superman, so I was fighting Superman for a while. And there was an audience in my dream, and they were all fairly disappointed. So that tells you something about how I think. But it was pretty cool. I played Superman for a while. But anyway, Robin was not in my dream, but might be in the movie and might be a girl.
Cool.
Which I'm cool with. But it makes a lot of sense because Zack Snyder years and years ago said like his dream would be to make The Dark Knight Returns. And at every turn, he has made this movie more and more The Dark Knight Returns, right? Like from casting Ben Affleck to just having the Batmobile be a bit more militaristic, and then this chatter. Like it just makes a lot of sense that that's what they would do. And I think you could do a cool Robin. I think you could.
You could.
If especially in a movie that's going to be mostly shit anyway. Like you might. No, now I'm just being mean. In this universe that they are creating with this Superman and that kind of stuff, like I think you could pull it off.
I think so too.
And then we've got this long list of all the movies coming out over the next few years.
Yeah, it's here's the thing. We're talking about DC, by the way.
Yes.
Here's the thing with DC's movie chart, and I understand that they see the success of Disney and Marvel, but the thing is Marvel established all this stuff in previous movies. I want it to work. Because I think they're fun movies, but I still have that reservation about it. If you're just trying to shoehorn heroes and villains in just so you can...
Yeah, it feels like, well, if we lay out a plan, then it'll all just fall into place.
Yeah.
And that's not... Like, as much as that's how it feels like Marvel did it, I don't know that when they sat down and they made Iron Man 2, and they made Iron Man, they did not know, hey... And then we'll do a Captain movie, and then we'll do Winter Soldier after that. Like, they didn't have it. They knew what things they'd like to do, but they had to focus on getting Iron Man right and making Iron Man cool. And and that's what, like, Warner Brothers could have done that with Green Lantern, and they fucked it up. And they have not successfully made any of those characters, like transcend what the modern culture thinks about them.
Yeah, and here's the thing, too. Is if you listen to Kevin Feige and what he says is while they're shooting the movies, they're still trying to figure out how to connect them.
Right.
So they shoot the bulk of the movie and they know what they're going to do, but they said, well, how can we make this work? It's interesting. I just read an interview with Jon Favreau from 2008, and I got this really cool like big superhero thing from Sci-Fi Now. It's a publication in the UK, and he talks about it. He said, I think we want to do an Avengers movie, so we might put something in there to connect the movies to Avengers.
Right. And
that means they shot the movie and like, hey, can we get Samuel L. Jackson to be Nick Fury at the end and just say it's called the Avengers Initiative.
Right.
And that's all they did, and they didn't know.
Yep.
And it worked.
Yep.
So we'll see.
And then they just started like laying the seeds for some of this stuff. And okay, so some of the movies they've got on here I think could be neat. So, for example, they've got Suicide Squad basically as the second movie, which just to me proves that they don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Well, the thing, too, is they don't put Harley Quinn in it. Like,
oh, really?
Yeah, it's not Harley Quinn. So they're taking the most popular person, and they're
who the fuck cares?
It's the original lineup,
I don't give a shit.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Do not give did they use the original lineup for Guardians of the Galaxy? Fuck no. They
No,
used the
'cause-
one with a raccoon and a tree in it because that's the shit people care about. Like Harley Quinn is one of the most interesting characters that they have. Like really?
Yeah, and it's
Like-
interesting that they don't use her.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Like because on this list, that is the movie I'm actually most interested in. I don't give a shit about the Flash. I don't give a shit about an Aquaman movie. I don't give a shit about them rebooting Green Lantern like 8 years from now. Don't give a shit about Cyborg.
I know that's a weird one too. Like,
Yeah.
I-
Those are the characters
I
they
don't know.
should be starting with.
yeah. And here's
Like,
the
if-
thing: is I don't. When I play like Injustice and stuff or anything, I'm not a big fan of the Teen Titans.
Yeah.
So I can't get into Cyborg, and I know he's popular. But I don't know anything about him, and he doesn't appeal to me.
I've said it a million times over the last few years. The right way for them to do it, and Green Lantern was their first chance, but the right way for them to do it is to go get a character that isn't commonly understood in the lexicon or in the pop culture, and redefine that character to some degree. Make them really cool. Make it just a fun adventure movie. And that is the way to start this universe. Not
Iron
with
Man.
like Iron Man. So Cyborg might have been the way to do it, or
Yeah.
Shazam might have been the way to do it, or a movie that is just the story of like Robin. Like
Mm-hmm.
tell the Batman story from Robin's point of view, or Wonder Woman was one that for a long time I said the right way to start that universe would be to go get Wonder Woman, tell a really cool origin story for Wonder Woman who makes Wonder Woman a badass and an interesting character in all the ways that most people don't understand, right? Like like your wife has Wonder Woman cookie jars and all this stuff, but has never read Wonder Woman. Does not actually know much about Wonder
It's
Woman.
a funny thing is I got the new 52 Wonder Woman for
Yeah.
her because she wanted to. She's never opened any of them.
Right. Then there's plenty of people who like Wonder Woman but don't actually know anything about the story. Like that's a great way to start that universe. A movie where Batman fights Superman is not the way to make people interested in, because those characters have been beaten to death for so long.
And here's the thing. You're right. There's been some rumblings because the Spider-Gwen story is so popular that Marvel and Sony are actually looking into retelling Spider-Man's origin,
Right.
but have Emma Stone be the one who gets bit by the spider and have it as Spider-Girl. That sounds fucking cool to me.
Sure, I don't give a shit. Like, we have the original stories. Like, comic book fans have proven that, while they'll be a little bit bitchy about certain things, I think that they've, for the most part, proven that you can, as long as you tell a really cool story, they don't necessarily give a shit if you play with the characters a little bit.
Yeah, because
you
the
know?
trolls on the internet doesn't matter.
Right,
You
yeah,
take
don't pay
someone-
attention to those.
Because remember when Spider-Man and Peter Parker in the first one was organic webs?
Right.
Oh, that's so stupid.
Right.
And Sam Raimi's like, this is my vision. I just don't want to spend time showing the mechanical ones.
Right.
No one
Didn't matter.
cares.
Yeah, like most people, the vast majority of people who saw that first movie liked it and did not give a shit about that, because the truth is the fun of the scene when he's trying to figure out how to use his web shooters is way better than a scene where he's sitting in his room trying to make web shooters.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah,
We'll see. I'm interested
I'm
to
very
see.
disappointed to find out that Suicide Squad does not have
I know.
Harley Quinn in it, because that, to me, again, was the one where I was like, oh, cool. Like,
I don't know why they just don't take the new lineup. Why don't they put the Joker's daughter in there, do all this
Yeah, do
goofy
some-
stuff? Because you're right. Because the Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one, I have Marvel team ups with Guardians of the Galaxy and Spider-Man. The first Guardians of the Galaxy team is boring. I'd rather have flawed characters like Peter Quill and
Yeah.
Rocket Raccoon and
right. Yeah, like, oh, man, that's such a disappointment. Especially after that Assault on Arkham movie this year was so good.
Yeah.
Like, you could just make a live-action version of that and give it
You
to
could.
people, and they would be totally down with it. Plus,
and how many
it
people would be
allows-
excited to see Harley Quinn?
Right. And it allows them to take advantage of the fact that the DC universe has a much darker, especially in their villains, it's just a much darker universe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you tell a dark Suicide Squad story. That would be so cool. What if you made it rated R?
Yeah,
Man.
take chances.
Yeah. But
That's the
but
only
what
way I
they're
think
doing,
DC is going to be able
Yeah.
to recover.
It's so, yeah, they are just, it feels like they're setting themselves up for failure. The only way that this actually makes it all the way to 2012 or 2020 in my mind is if they keep the budget so low on these movies that internationally they always make their money back. Right?
I mean, I hope they work out, but just looking at the thing, it just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
And it'll be interesting to see, like, Gal Gadot is going to be Wonder Woman in this new one. I hope she's great. I hope she's really great. I hope that she is so good that they can launch that character and have her own movie in a few years, and that sounds good to me. But as a huge fan of Fast Five, I don't know. I don't.
The one person who did do it for me.
I
was
don't
Gal
know.
Gadot.
No. That's not fair. Like she's good. She's good. She's just good in Fast Five. So, anyway. And Warwick Davis is going to be in the next Star Wars movie.
Hey, I saw a movie with Warwick Davis this week.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, well, let's get into that.
Cool.
So, yeah, this is the stuff we've been watching.
So I watched a few things. Sometimes there's things in your life that are surreal, James, like surreal moments in your life.
Okay.
And the Leprechaun collection came out on Blu-ray.
Okay.
And here's the thing.
Not following yet?
So that they took these totally B movies, maybe C movies, and not only did they make them on Blu-ray, but they made them all widescreen again, and they cleaned them all up, and each movie has like a 30-minute making of it.
And
each
the box set's really awesome looking.
Yeah, and they each have like interviews and commentaries with Warwick Davis.
Wow.
And the movies look really good on Blu-ray. I haven't seen the new one yet, which is Leprechaun Origins. So I don't know. I couldn't speak for the new one, but I still have fun watching the old ones because the thing is Warwick Davis is really good in them. He just has fun. He realizes what he's doing, and he's just playing the part. I was listening to the commentary with him, and I guess originally the Leprechaun was a lot more sinister. And he kind of brought this whimsy about him, saying evil things and doing evil things. But the way he delivered the lines and made him a little more goofy. And
He kind of plays it like a Mark Hamill Joker.
Exactly. That's a great analogy because
He's menacing.
he's menacing, but at the same time, you throw shoes at him and he has to polish the shoes. And, there's parts where he's riding a skateboard and sticking his tongue out. And so, yeah, it's violent and stuff. But I think how well Warwick, and he's a great actor, the way he's able to play it makes them, I think that's why they're so popular, honestly, is his performances in them alone.
Yeah.
Because the rest of the actors are,
I think what you're saying is that without him, they never would have made it to the hood.
yeah, or even Back to the Hood.
Yeah.
That's why I haven't
They never
watched
would have made
Leprechaun
it back.
Origins, because he's not in it, one. And
Really?
two, I heard it's like a creature feature where the leprechaun's more of a creature
What?
than someone who says, I want me gold. So I'm not really that excited to see it.
Oh, that's disappointing.
But the reason I got the Leprechaun collection, because on Amazon it was $22 for all 7 of them. Or Leprechaun Origin was like...
There's fucking 7 of them?
Yeah. Or Leprechaun Origin was like $19 on its own. But Leprechaun
Holy
Origin is included.
Yeah.
And this is how lazy the box art is for it, though, and how much they didn't care. You flip it over, and it has all the leprechauns, and then Leprechaun Origin says DVD and UV on it. I'm like, they didn't even put it in Blu-ray on the Blu-ray collection.
Oh, wow.
But when you open it, it's a Blu-ray disc on the inside.
Oh,
so
weird.
what they did is someone probably is like, I'm just going to clip art this on there, and I don't care.
That's too bad because I saw it. I saw it online, and just that cover with Warwick Davis is really cool looking.
And I know it's selling well because I was at Best Buy the last week, and it doesn't have the slip cover anymore.
Huh.
So that means they've already burned through their initial.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it's I think it's $30 now. But you get 7 movies. They're not.
Yeah.
They're fun.
Yeah.
And I'm just impressed that they each have a making of and they each have a commentary on them,
Wow.
which blows my mind.
Is there a Warwick Davis commentary on every
Yep.
single one?
No, it's on. He's on
Well,
the first
except for-
one
Oh, okay.
and the last Leprechaun in the Hood. So, but he's really fun in the interviews.
How many times does he go to the hood? I thought there were only
Twice.
like 3. Okay.
Twice. He goes to space and then he goes to the Hood twice.
Oh, he goes to space before he goes to the
Yeah.
hood? I thought he went to the hood and then he went to space. And then he
No.
went back to the hood.
It goes Leprechaun 1 is he fights Jennifer Aniston.
Right.
And you can tell she's actually a pretty good actress, and you can see
Oh, yeah.
like people like that, you can actually see that they're gonna go someplace. You know
Right.
what I mean?
She's got that charisma.
She does.
I've
And
seen
then the second one, I forget what he does in the second one. He's like in Hollywood, and it's like a haunted tour. Third one's in Vegas. Fourth one's in space.
There's a Vegas one.
Yeah. Fifth one is he's in the hood with Ice Cube.
Right.
Oh, Ice-T. Ice-T, I'm sorry.
Right.
And then he raps at the end. And,
Shit.
The last one is he's in the hood again with, I don't know. But the last one has 4 commentaries on it. I know. I was like, wow. But that's what I mean. Like,
wow.
someone actually spent time
Yeah.
to...
So there are people who really care about the Leprechaun movies.
I was listening to the commentary, and the director said the Leprechaun came out when it was like direct-to-video.
Right.
But the first one was released in theaters, and it made like $10 million in the theater. And it cost $2 million to make, so that's a pretty good profit. But then they found that Blockbuster, remember at the time, Blockbuster movies, you worked at there
Yep.
a little bit after that, but to get a movie like that was what, $70, $80?
Mhm.
And they had like 4 million copies sold. So each one of those movies made like $30 million.
Wow.
So,
Oh yeah, because there were always Leprechaun movies in stock.
yep.
Like that's how I remember when I was a kid going through Blockbusters and seeing like Leprechaun in the Hood and just thinking, really? Like, even then, like I was like 10, and I still would see it and go, really? Like, is that a title?
But if each movie costs $2 million, you're making $30 million a movie, you're making quite a bit of money.
Yeah, seriously, man.
So yeah,
That
so
makes
that was
sense.
fun. I watched that this week. I watched the first 3 episodes of Penny Dreadful, which is that horror show on Showtime that
Yeah.
stars Ava Green and Josh Hartnett.
What is it about?
It's actually kind of interesting. Timothy Dalton and Ava Green play these people that are looking for Timothy Dalton's daughter. Again, I've only seen the first 3 episodes, so I'm not
Right.
exactly sure what happens. And Josh Hartnett plays an American who's touring in England and is doing like a Wild West show. And they need help finding his daughter who's been kidnapped by some monster. I don't know who it is yet. And there's vampires and Dorian Gray and Frankenstein's in it. So they take
Cool.
a bunch of old literary characters and kind of blend them in. And the basis behind it is, if people don't know what a penny dreadful is in Victorian London, you'd pay a penny and you'd get a little magazine. And in it, it'd have little shock stories.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
this dead guy got up and walked. And they called them penny dreadfuls.
Yeah.
And so this show kind of plays on that, where it's grimy England and there's monsters around. And the second episode features an amazing performance by Ava Green. They have a seance, which
Do
is...
you mean she gets naked?
No, she doesn't.
Oh, okay.
I wish. But they have a seance, and she gets possessed by some demon. And she has this really long monologue, and it's pretty terrifying, and she's really good in it.
Cool.
It's interesting because the back of it says erotically charged. And I think I've seen 2 sex scenes, and not even like tons of nudity.
Which is weird for Showtime.
Yeah,
and
and-
Ava Green.
Yeah, I mean, Ava Green gets possessed by this monster, and then she goes out and has sex with the guy, but there's no nudity, and it's kind of blurry in the background.
What?
So, yeah, I mean, there's butt nudity, but
This
there's
is from the same channel that made Dexter and would just like bizarrely throw in. I've told the story about the time where he's like wandering around in a neighborhood, and for whatever reason, there is like a naked couple through a window having sex that has nothing to do with that episode, because Showtime just loves throwing that stuff in there, and HBO, all of them do.
yeah, it's
But-
yeah. So I mean, I guess it's kind of like it might get worse as the series goes along. I mean, maybe they're just setting up the series, but I don't think it's right now. I don't think it's gratuitous.
Cool.
But it's
cool.
interesting, and like the special effects, like the monsters are pretty cool because it's practical. So it's pretty gory,
Neat.
but I would say it's more of a drama with horror elements into it, because they don't really focus on the monsters. It's all about these characters, and they all kind of have shady pasts. It's pretty interesting. I mean, the first 3 episodes, I'd recommend it. We'll see. It's only 8 episodes long, so it's kind of a short season.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So
Very
we'll see
cool.
about that one. The new one that I'm going to start of watching all this performers' movies, and I've already seen most of them, is Tom Cruise. What really got me on it, I think I mentioned it last week, was I heard his interview on The Nerdist, and he just made me get so inspired. Because what's really cool is, I think there's this misconception of Tom Cruise. I really do. My wife has it, where she thinks doesn't like his movies because he doesn't like how he is in real life.
Yeah.
And I said, well, how do you know what he's like in real life? And she said, well, when he was on Oprah, he jumped on a couch.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it's goofy, and his Scientology recruitment video is goofy.
Right.
But
his movies are real good.
Yeah, and
like
the
I
thing-
wish he didn't give money to organizations that kill people, but
yeah,
like
I mean,
his
the
movies are real
the
good.
Scientology thing's weird.
Yeah.
But to me, I don't care. I'm sure people will see me and they're like, "Oh, yeah, he collects Disney memorabilia. What a weirdo!"
Right.
Everybody has a
Seriously.
thing. Yeah, everybody has a thing. But listening to him talk with Chris Hardwick and how he just gets inspired, and they said, "Well, what do you do? You know, is it hard for you?" Because they were talking about Edge of Tomorrow, and you know, because you're being physical and you're running in that exoskeleton, and he said, and they asked if it's hard for him to unwind. And how does he unwind? You just go back to your hotel and collapse. He said, no, what I do is I go back and I look at the next 3 movies I'm going to make. What am I going to do? How am I going to make these movies great? How am I going to make these movies cool? He said a movie like Rain Man, he was developing for 7 years. And that's like when he was even like before he was super big.
Yeah.
I mean, he was still a popular actor, but he worked on that script and he waited till Dustin Hoffman was available. And he told this great story about working with Paul Newman in The Color of Money. And Tom Cruise was saying, yeah, I just wanted to look really cool in this outfit I picked out. And it was like 10 degrees outside. So I'm always cold and I'm just in there shivering. And I look over at Newman, and Newman's doesn't matter. He's all cool, and he's just doing the scene. He doesn't go and get warm. He's just standing around. And after 3 or 4 takes, he comes up to me and he says, "Kid, long underwear." It's like he tells these stories, and you realize how many people he's worked with and how great of a career he's had.
That's so funny.
And so I started my Tom Cruise marathon with Night and Day with Cameron Diaz.
I've never seen it. My mom really likes it though.
And here's the thing. It's not a bad movie.
Cool.
Here's the thing. I always say with Tom Cruise, does he really make a bad movie? Exactly. He might not make a great movie,
Yeah.
but does he make a bad movie?
Or a better way to say it might be, has he ever made a movie bad?
That's a good way to say it.
Right.
So
like there are movies of his that I don't love, but he's always good in them.
that's the thing is I remember watching Night and Day and being like, it's okay.
Yeah.
So
like a lot of people would say that Vanilla Sky is
Yeah.
bad. I think it's interesting. I think it fails at a lot of things, but he's really good in it.
And here's the thing. I haven't seen Vanilla Sky since I got it on DVD 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So I don't remember anything about it. I remember he wears a weird mask in it.
Yep.
So I'm going to go back and revisit him. And revisiting Night and Day is he's really funny in it. He's really charismatic. He does some great action moments in it. It falters because some of the CGI isn't very good when he's running away from bulls. But overall, it's pretty fun. Like, there's this badass scene at the beginning where he's on this airplane, and this airplane's, like, just full of bad guys, and Cameron Diaz and him. And he keeps on trying to get Cameron Diaz to leave him alone, but now that she got mixed up with him, now she has to come with him. So he's on this plane, he's just kicking everybody's ass, and the way the plane starts to crash, and he's just like, the plane's going to crash, and just make sure you buckle on. And it's just the way he does it is so funny.
Oh, that's good.
So yeah, and he plays kind of a crazy, unhinged guy, and he turns out he's like this super spy, and it's really cool, and the setup is really good.
Yeah.
Some of the payoffs are okay, but I still have fun watching it. It's not a movie where I sit down like, is this movie going to end?
Yeah.
It goes by fast, and he's still fun in it. So I really enjoyed Tom Cruise this week.
Very cool.
Just a few more things. Sorry,
No, you're good.
I watched Commando again because I also listened to a Nerdist interview with Schwarzenegger, and he was talking about ideas he had for Commando. And so Commando is a great movie. It has to be like one of the height of the Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone, just macho man cinema. Where, I mean, at the end, he's literally running through that compound and just mowing guys down. They can't shoot him, but he is killing a whole army of dudes with one gun. And then if you like a macho movie, it's fun. They kidnap his daughter. He says, "I'll be back" in it. And it's funny, on the Nerdist, he talks about "I'll be back." And he said, I went up to Jim Cameron and I said, "Why would I say I'll be back? That doesn't make sense. I would say I will be back." And Jim Cameron told him, he said, "Hey, dude, I'm the writer. You're the actor. Just do what I say." And now it's like one of the greatest movie lines
Right.
ever.
Yeah.
And that sounds like something Jim Cameron would say.
Yeah. Even though he's also right.
He's right, but
Schwarzenegger's totally right. The robot
Yeah.
should say, "I will be back."
Yeah, he is right. But it's interesting because even Schwarzenegger is saying he's such a great actor. I loved that little thing we saw before Fury where he's like, "A fucking tank!"
I bought a fucking tank.
where it's
Yeah.
obviously for charity, you get a ride in a tank with Schwarzenegger. I don't know
Right.
how much you'd have to pay, but I'd do it. So yeah, Commando's fun and silly. He kills a lot of guys in it and has a lot of one-liners. And then there's lots of like continuity errors, which makes it funny. Like this Porsche crashes, and then he flips it over, and then when they drive away, it's like pristine. Stuff that's really noticeable, but who cares? It's a fun
Yeah.
movie. And then the last thing I saw was Gone Girl with Ben Affleck. The movie is really good. The performances are great in it.
Yeah. Ben Affleck's really good.
Here's the thing with Ben Affleck. I've been saying it forever. He's a good actor.
Yeah.
And what's great, what I really liked about this movie is every time you think maybe Affleck is innocent, something would happen. You're like, well, maybe this guy is an asshole.
Right.
You know? But here's huge spoilers. If you've not
Yeah.
seen this
I was
movie,
going to say, I
if
don't
you've
think we
not-
can do this without
Yeah, if you've not read this book, stop listening or skip forward, I don't know, 10 minutes
10
or
minutes,
whatever.
whatever.
But as you start reading it, and then you start learning that his wife is the most manipulative person ever,
Yeah.
and that her whole story is a fabrication, and all because she wanted to get out and pretend she was dead. And dude, and then you realize like, whoa, Ben Affleck is telling the truth about everything.
Uh-huh.
And it's a great little twist in the movie because a lot of movies always make the guy to be the bad person, whether
Right.
it's What Lies Beneath with Harrison Ford, which I love that movie anyways. But this movie is just so well made, and you're with it completely.
Mm-hmm.
I'm with it even when she's
She
still
is.
alive, and when she goes to Desi, Neil Patrick Harris's character. I'm like, okay. I was actually kind of hoping that Neil Patrick's character would kill her, kind of teach her a lesson.
Yeah.
But then it takes another turn where she pretends she's raped by him, murders him, and then Ben Affleck's cool with it. But see,
that's not how that movie ends.
yeah, he's like, meh, well, I'm going to stick around.
Right. So that's what I don't like about this movie.
Me
is
too.
That in those last 10 minutes, it's not that he's okay with it. It's that it is that a number of very convenient things happen for her to manipulate his life. Like, basically, she's holding over him the fact that she is pregnant, and if he does anything to break the illusion of their life and their happiness together, that she will basically take, just destroy his life around him. And it's supposed to be, I look at it in a very network kind of way, where I think it's supposed to be a satire, or just a criticism on the way that we
Oh yeah, it totally is. And actually, one of my favorite scenes
celebritize
is
these
when
villain-
that
these
Nancy
people.
Grace lady shows up at his house,
Mhm.
and she's "Oh hi, how are you? You told everybody I killed my wife,
Yeah.
and then you told me what else? She said horrible things about
Yeah,
him.
well, yeah.
What
She
did he say to her?
she insinuated that he had sex with
his
sister.
sister. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and he just the way Affleck plays that is
Oh, yeah.
so cool.
Yeah.
But then you
So that's my problem, is that I don't believe that any any human being would go through all the things he goes through and would accept the life he accepts
Yeah.
for the reasons he accepts
I mean,
it.
I guess because she has like the bar in her name and stuff, but
Right, exactly. Like she can bring his life down around his ears, and he will look like a piece of shit in the news. And
I mean,
that's the reason he doesn't do it,
yeah,
right?
but isn't it great though too when she shows up like after all bloody and stuff, and she falls, and I was like, you fucking cunt. You're
Right.
like,
Oh,
my
yeah.
God.
Right. And because that's the moment where you realize that how he is portrayed in the media is actually important to him.
Yeah, it's
even
really
though
fascinating.
he's so bad at controlling that the rest of the movie, in the beginning of the movie. But yeah, from then on, you realize okay, the only reason he's not admitting to what's really going on, and the only reason he doesn't just drop her right there and go, "No, fuck you,"
Mm-hmm.
I know what you did, and now that you're back, I can prove it to everyone.
Yeah.
Because there's little things. There are things she does along the way that you could easily punch holes in her story.
Mm-hmm.
There's the fact we know that there is video footage of her walking into Desi's house
Yeah.
with him. That story does not hold water at all. It only holds water because the media wants to believe what they were
Yeah.
told. And even that cop, the cop, I said this when we reviewed it, that cop is such a intelligent, really good David Fincher kind of character. And then she comes back, and that cop does not believe this story.
I know that interview with her in the hospital, and
Right.
the cop is saying, "Oh, she's almost has her."
Right.
She
And so I
almost
just
has her.
don't believe that she just lets that go.
Yeah, you hope that there's gonna, if the story continued, the cop would follow up and
Right.
stuff.
So it's a brilliant movie. I just don't like the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, and but it's a thing. I think that's why it's written that way, is because it's supposed to be a thing. Like, fuck this, and they want people
Right.
to talk about it. You
Right.
know, it's
exactly.
um,
which is really smart. Like
yeah.
it's yeah.
Well, it's a smart way because it doesn't take the easy way out.
right.
It makes I always appreciate movies that they make you ask questions, and it's not just, oh, she did bad, and then that cop nails her in the hospital.
Yeah.
Because that'd be easy. That'd be the easy ending, and it's not.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of Fincher movies end that way. Even if he's adapting Girl, Dragon, Tattoo, even The Social Network, is it doesn't end like in a way you expect it to end. Basically, in The Social Network's like, oh, Mark Zuckerberg might be the founder of Facebook, but he has no friends.
Right.
He's a really great filmmaker, and
Yeah.
so I enjoyed the movie. The performances were amazing in it.
Yeah, that's the reason to see it.
Yeah.
Both of them. Both of the well, yeah.
My wife was telling me it's distracting because like how buff Ben Affleck is in it, and she said, "Was he getting ready for Batman?" I mean, yeah, probably.
Yeah, totally is.
But he's always been kind of like a built guy. I don't think
Yeah.
he's ever been like.
I don't think honestly, in some of those shots, he looks more frumpy. Like you can tell that there's more underneath his shirt than you're seeing. But I think at times it looks just a little bit frumpy more than
Yeah.
it is, But cool.
Yeah, that's what I watched this week.
Well, I thoroughly enjoyed some Tom Cruise this week.
Nice.
I missed the episode where you guys got to go see Live, Die, Repeat, All You Need Is Kill, Edge of Tomorrow, or as it is commonly known, that Tom Cruise movie.
It's one of my favorite movies from the year.
I was just going to say, this, honestly, we've still got Interstellar coming this year, but so what I can say is that so far, this is the best piece of science fiction all year.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
This movie is really, really cool. It's fun to think about. It's a really cool piece of science fiction. So if you're a fan of the genre, you just have to see this. And then it is just a fun adventure movie. It's sort of a take like if you took Primer and then made it an adventure film. That's what this is.
Yeah.
Because it is this. Or, everybody compares it to Groundhog Day, and it is very similar. But if you didn't see the trailer for whatever reason, basically it's in the future, and there's this alien race that attacks, and Tom Cruise... I don't even want to explain to you why, because that's one of the most fun things about the movie, but Tom Cruise gets stuck in a loop where he's reliving the same 24-hour period over and over and over again. And one of the things that you don't learn from the trailer is that he starts the movie off as this lieutenant in the military
And he's
who's
a
going
dick.
around. He's a total dick. Does not know how to fight.
He's like a corporate head.
yeah, his job is just to inspire people to sign up for the military. And then for some interesting political reasons, he ends up getting trapped into actually going to the front lines because this general wants him to die. And then that's the day he relives over and over again. And he ends up running into Emily Blunt, who is this badass military chick. And then he's got to figure out how to, in 24 hours, by reliving the day over and over and over again and learning all these lessons, defeat this alien race because, they are just going to mow the entire human race down. It's one of the coolest alien invasion movies, and the idea of the alien is one of the coolest ones I've seen maybe ever.
Yeah, and here's the thing too, what a lot of people don't talk about, and I think I forgot to mention this when I saw it the first time. He relives the day, but the movie's so smart that when he gets off the beach, you think that's the first time he got off the beach.
Right.
And then you find out that he's done this a lot of times.
Yeah.
And Emily Blunt says, "Why can't I get in this helicopter? Why can't I leave here?"
that's a
and
great
you
moment.
realize that you're not seeing everything, that
Right.
we're not seeing his story. And I think it's such a smart movie tactic because it keeps you invested in it. And when you're watching, what version of this am I seeing?
Right, exactly.
And-
you actually lose track of his character to some degree.
Yeah.
It allows you you don't have to be there for every step of his development.
Yep.
Which is really cool. Yeah, it's a smart, fun movie, that's for sure. And yeah, just the idea of, like I said, I don't want to talk about how this alien works. But when they introduce it, and like it's just a really badass
Yeah.
idea. Like they introduce what this alien is doing, and you're like, holy shit! Like this is more impressive and scarier than like the giant laser in Independence Day was,
Yeah.
right? Like the stakes seem so much higher, and the whole thing with there's these alphas, which are like generals in the alien race that are running around, and if you kill one, like it's a really interesting dynamic that if you win a battle against this alien race, you will lose the battle against the alien race. Like,
Yeah.
it's so brilliant.
And I think that's why too. I mean, I have the Blu-ray, and it literally says "Live, Die, Repeat" on it.
Yeah.
And Edge of Tomorrow's on the bottom. I think they didn't know how to promote this
Oh,
movie.
yeah.
And I actually think "Live, Die, Repeat" would be an awesome title for a movie.
It's better. Yeah. Edge of Tomorrow it's kind of an okay title. No, I actually think it's a good
It
title
makes more
if you've
sense
seen the movie.
if you've seen the movie.
But yeah, they just didn't. They had no idea how to market this,
No.
and it is an absolute tragedy. Like the fact that I didn't see this in theaters, or my parents didn't see this in theaters, because I can tell you, like I bought the Blu-ray. I just heard good things. I'd heard you guys talk about it to some degree, and I knew I was going to end up liking it, so I bought the Blu-ray having not seen it, and I gave it to my parents because I know they're going to adore this
Yeah.
movie. Like my mom's going to watch this movie constantly.
And it's the one of the things, word of mouth. I mean, it made over $100 million, and when it first came out, they're like, "Oh, is this going to make money?"
Yeah.
But people had to see it, and they
Right.
had to appreciate it.
Yeah.
But they had no idea how to market this movie.
Yeah, it's
And-
a real shame. And there's so much quality to
Oh,
it
yeah.
that the fact that you couldn't put together a trailer or a title or anything to actually, like, they should have just, bit the bullet and sold it as a Tom Cruise joint. And,
Yeah.
and just avoided everything else and just be like, this is a movie where he's in a suit and he's fighting aliens.
They
like,
really should have. They really
Yeah,
should have
like-
shown him like dropping out of the airship and then shooting
Yes.
things.
They should have
and-
completely avoided the time travel thing because that's the thing they didn't understand how to pitch people, and it made the concept of the movie something that didn't stick with people, right? Like they just needed to sell it as here's a badass action movie. Yo, dog, do you like Tom Cruise? Because guess what? Most people do.
Hey, dog, I do like Tom Cruise.
Right, exactly. And the movie would have done well, but instead they marketed it in a confusing way that made even like sci-fi fans like a lot of people looked at it, and I remember talking to people and they were like, I don't know if that movie is really going to be smart. I don't like it. It
It's
seems
funny
like
you say-
they're doing this time travel thing, but like it just seems rough. And then you watch it and you're like, no, this movie is really intelligent.
Yep.
And a really cool piece of science fiction. So it's just it's an
we
awful
should be
shame.
in Warner Brothers marketing because I literally just cut the trailer in my head,
Yeah.
calling the movie "Live, Die, Repeat."
Yeah.
You could show a scene of him dropping on and shooting, and it's like live, and then you see him like get cut in half, die, and then it goes back to him falling, repeat.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So you could do something.
Why
really-
are you in charge of Warner Brothers?
Well, here's the thing though. The movie wasn't titled "Live, Die, Repeat."
I know that's what I mean.
but it was the
if,
tagline.
if they figured that out sooner,
Yeah. Even if you just call it like the problem is if you haven't seen the movie, the title "Edge of Tomorrow" is like just the most forgettable title.
Yeah.
You know, even if you'd call it "All You Need Is Kill," like that would have been better, just because it is so grammatically awkward that people be like, "Oh yeah, that weird movie. All you need is like murder or whatever."
Yeah.
Like that would stick with them and they would remember
I
that
agree.
piece. But the title "Edge of Tomorrow" just sounds like a
generic.
it's like a
It sounds
paperback sci-fi novel written by a guy who wrote way too many sci-fi novels in the 50s.
It sounds like guys sitting at Warner Brothers being like, how can we market this movie? And we can't call it All You Need Is Kill because people won't like that.
Yeah.
Edge of Tomorrow?
Yeah.
Okay, it sounds good.
It sounds like a bad hackneyed
Yeah.
like rip off of a Philip K. Dick story.
It really does. It
It's
really
just-
does.
It's really a shame. So anyway, people need to go just buy Live or Die Repeat / Edge of Tomorrow /
When you go,
All
to,
You
when
Need
you
Is
go
Kill.
to Best Buy, you go onto Amazon, you have to... It's even hyphenated
It
now.
is, yeah.
So you won't even see Edge of Tomorrow on the box. It'll say Live, Die, Repeat. So
Yeah, it's like a hashtag at the bottom.
Yep,
It's
it's weird.
Edge of Tomorrow Blunt Cruise, and you're like, what the fuck? Like what?
Yeah.
Man, you guys really fucked this up, didn't you?
Yep.
And it's too bad because it's one of the most underrated movies of the year.
Oh, yeah. Me and Brad, when we watched it, we were talking about it's one of our favorite movies of the summer.
It
And it's-
totally is, yeah.
Rewatching it, it's still one of my favorite movies of the year.
Yeah.
It will definitely be in my film explosion
Yeah,
list.
we will talk about that movie again at the end of the year.
Unless
for
for
sure.
some reason there is enough movies that are coming out to knock it out, and I don't see.
I don't
that
think. Yeah, this
happening.
year's not been that good. So, the other thing was that last week, The Legend of Korra book 4 started.
Internet, right?
Yes, yeah. So this is the one. This is the last season and the first season that is entirely just on the Nickelodeon website.
I don't understand why Nickelodeon did that. What, did they have so much programming that does so well that they
Well,
can just dump that?
No, I would bet that what it was that they had already invested enough, because it takes so long to make that show.
Well, yeah.
That the fact that they turned it around, the last season aired at the beginning of the summer. So they clearly had already been animating the new season. So they probably just said, like, look, we're going to dump this. It's not doing well enough. But we also have these fervent fans who will eat us alive if we announce that we're canceling it. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to finish the season we're working on now. But when we air it, we're going to announce that it's the final season.
Do you think there's any opportunity to be, like, re-resurrected on Adult Swim or something?
No. No. And the truth is, with the way they're going, I would totally believe, like, if DiMartino came out, or either of the creators came out and said, like, no, the truth is, we built this to be 4 seasons, so this was going to be the end anyway, I would totally believe them, because where they've taken the story, basically the villain this season, the Earth Kingdom, there's this villain in the Earth Kingdom who's, like, trying to take everything over, and she's really militaristic and is just starting to rule the country with an iron fist. And that's sort of the villain. But the truth is, the villain of the season is depression. Because Korra at the end of last season got her ass kicked and got poisoned. And so at the beginning of the season... Oh, and I talked about this when it ended, but the air nomads are going to, like, go out and basically do the job she's been doing and, like, keep the peace in the world. So for 3 seasons, everybody's been telling her, like, yeah, the world doesn't really need an avatar anymore. So now that she is, like, kind of defeated and really sad, she just wanders the earth. Like, she's disappeared. Nobody knows where she is. And she, in the second episode, when we finally catch up with her, she's like, she's having these weird visions of herself, and she's, anyway, it's all of these, like, visual metaphors for the fact that she is really depressed and just doesn't believe in herself anymore. And she ends up running into Toph, who's one of the characters from the original series. And she discovers in the 3rd episode this week that, like, she's still got some of the poison in her. And Toph tries to get it out of her, but there's this great scene where, like, Toph keeps yelling at her and, like, no, like, you've got to relax in order for me to get this out of you. And what it is it's this really great picture of the way that she is just clinging too much to, like, that memory of what it was like to just basically get her ass handed to her, and just that fear of her not being good enough, and that she's, like, holding on to this, poison inside of her life. And it's just a really great, yeah, exactly, right, for a fucking kids movie, or television show. And so it's just been a really, it's a really dark season so far. Meanwhile, there's the guy who's actually supposed to be the king of the Earth Kingdom. One of our characters is basically his bodyguard, and, like, he and his brother are fighting, and he's just clearly unhappy with the fact that, like, all he is a bodyguard now. Like, nobody's really in a good place in their life, and it's just interesting to see them explore what happens sort of when theoretically you've gotten everything that you want, like, you've defeated all of the bad guys, and now you just have to live something of a normal life. Like, it's interesting. The way I would put it is, this series has basically been if in the new Star Wars trilogy, the story was that now that Luke Skywalker has brought balance to the Force, he basically spends the rest of his time making the Force and Jedis completely irrelevant by, like, handing power out to everybody else and finding a way to let normal people, like Buffy, run the world. Yeah, exactly. Yes. Yeah, basically this whole series has been the last 20 minutes of Buffy. Which is really interesting. And so now this season is clearly going to be about Korra and the other characters from that show trying to figure out how you fit into a world that doesn't necessarily need you anymore. And it's fascinating and cool. And the action is awesome. So the second episode of this show, I swear, I could show you just this episode and you'd go, oh, like, I don't know that you would necessarily, like, suddenly want to watch the show, and there would be things you wouldn't necessarily understand, but just the action and the little scenes of drama and the politics going on, I think you would get it just from that one 30-minute episode. You'd go, oh, okay, I understand why people really like this, and I understand why the show is special. So it's just cool that even though it's coming to an end, like it's firing on all cylinders. I'm really excited about where it's going.
Maybe it's okay it ends then.
Oh, totally. That's what I'm saying.
If it ends on a high note, then...
Yeah, and it just means that those guys will hopefully get to go off and create
sure,
something
be
new. Because, like, they just need to make a show that isn't on Nickelodeon is probably the answer. So, cool. I think that's everything I watched. Yeah.
Cool. This is the comic book you should pick up this week.
What's up, nerds? It's the Comics Corner.
Do you want me to go?
Yeah, you go.
All right, cool. I actually have two, and again, it's going to be repeats. Edge of Spider-Verse #5 is written by Gerard Way, who is My Chemical Romance, and it's a really interesting story. It's like kind of sci-fi, and he has lyrics to a song going while this thing called the Spider, which is actually this little girl in a huge mechanized suit that has a spider that lives with her that gives her the powers.
Like a Spider Slayer suit?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But the spider gives her powers, and she's related to Peter Parker in this alternate universe. And she fights a really cool looking Mysterio where he has like a big eyeball for a globe.
Ooh.
And it's really fascinating. And she has to fight him, and he uses like fear toxin, and it's messing with her like systems, and it's really fast. And I read it, I don't know, like in 5 minutes. But the story's really cool because it kind of has a future techno feel to it, and that it's a little girl inside of this mech fighting a really cool looking Mysterio is really fascinating to me, and that she senses that the other Spider men and women are in trouble, and so she makes this thing, and she's off to fight Morlun, and it's kind of a cute little fun story. It doesn't really deal with her father is Peter Parker, and he dies at the beginning really fast because obviously it's a one shot, so I have to tell the story really fast.
Yeah.
And her Aunt May and Uncle Ben are actually scientists that genetically engineer the spider, and the spider is the person who it has to be genetically tied to Peter Parker. So this little girl named Penny Parker gets bit by the spider, and she becomes the mechanized spider. It's pretty interesting. So the second one, which is the Spider-Gwen, and this one are definitely the best ones. The one before that was like a horror comic where Spider-Man was kind of evil in it. It was written kind of like EC comic style. It was interesting. Just not quite as good.
Yeah.
So I'd pick up #5. Again, I don't know how long this one will last because I think a lot of people are starting to get into it.
Yeah.
So like the Spider-Gwen one, it might sell out really fast. And it's, Gerard Way's first mainstream comic that he's doing because he did Umbrella Academy.
Yeah.
And people really enjoyed that. And that he did a different take on Spider-Man. I think people will kind of get excited once they figure out what it is.
Right.
And then they also relaunched Batgirl.
Didn't that one just start?
Issue 35. DC does this thing that every September, the New 52 kind of reboots itself where they're going to try new... different things to do.
That just sounds stressful.
Yeah, it's so funny.
Just as soon as you like a character, especially because you've just been getting into this character for the first time ever.
Yeah.
And so to get to a place where
it's
now they're
interesting. I will say this: it's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
And that the new writer does not ignore anything that came before.
Okay, so it's really just that
it's a restart.
It's changing hands.
Exactly.
And they might change some dynamics about the character, but it might stay the same.
And the dynamics they change is it's a little more upbeat. Where Gail Simone, she wrote a really dark story.
Yeah.
I mean, they did a Futures End thing last month, September, where they take stories 5 years in the future, and the writers could do whatever they want. And just reading reviews on Comic Vine and stuff and Newsarama. Varying degrees of success, and everybody really liked Gail Simone's Batgirl because it's literally like she got a chance to finish her story when DC wouldn't let her finish the story.
Right.
So the Batgirl Futures End is actually pretty good. She kills Bane in it, and so this one kind of carries over where she's starting a new town because of what happened to her at the end of not Futures End, but the one before, where basically everything's falling apart for her. So she moves and she's going to college, and it kind of takes a little more of a meta humor where it's texting and Instagram and now she's looking for a guy who's hacking in. There's like this hacker who you'd go to this website called Hook where you hook up with people, and he would steal all your information. So she figures that out and redesigns her costume and goes and kicks his ass. So it's still pretty interesting, and it's still pretty well done. It is a little jarring going from Gail Simone's really dark and brooding, like, Batgirl to this really brightly colored, kind of cartoony Batgirl. Still well done. So we'll see how it goes.
Cool.
So those are 2 comics I read this week that are fun.
Awesome.
And I don't know if the Batgirl comic is available anymore. When I was at Colorado Coins and Cards and Comics, he did not have any more on the shelf.
Oh, shit.
And in fact, there is one variant left. I did get one of the variants. This month, DC's doing monster variants. And the Batgirl is like a vampire. It actually looks pretty cool. So I got that one, and he has one more of those. So
Cool.
So if you want to get it, make sure you go down there soon and ask for Andrew. And maybe he has some. Because sometimes he keeps some behind the counter.
Yeah. Or if you haven't been reading it, it sounds like you can just pick up the trades
yeah.
of the last year. And
Yeah, definitely. And you can't pick up the trades. I know those are there. 20% off.
very cool.
Cool. So this week we went and saw Fury, starring
Yeah.
Brad Pitt. James, should people go see Fury?
Yes. It's a you should know going in. It's a pretty brutal World War II movie. And I've got a couple of things that are that irk me a little bit about it, but they are minor. I think the movie is really great, and especially when you're talking about a World War II movie, I feel like there's a lot of World War II movies. I always go into them and you have the sense of, okay, what is this movie gonna bring that's gonna be different, or is gonna make it worthy of being among all of the fantastic World War II movies that we've seen. And there are a number of things in this film that to me are going to stick with me and are going to be just really great scenes that are totally worth people checking out. So yeah, I would definitely recommend it.
Yeah, I would go see it too. I have a little qualms with it, but it's exciting. It's depressing.
Yep.
It's well acted. It's well shot, very well shot.
Oh, the movie's gorgeous.
But we'll play the trailer, and I'll get into some of the things I don't like about it after we talk about it for a little bit. Here's a trailer for Fury.
If you think it can't get worse, it can, and it will. The dying's not done. The killing's not done. I promised my crew a long time ago I'd keep them alive.
I was afraid you were dead. Where's the rest of 3rd Platoon?
We're it.
Sergeant Collier, I'm your new assistant driver.
Tank school? That's home.
I've never even seen the inside of a tank.
You will. I started this war killing Germans in Africa. Now I'm killing Germans in Germany. Been with these fine gentlemen for years.
These troops get by you, we're all dead in the water. All we got is you.
I won't ask you to do anything I haven't done myself. Com check.
Photo check.
Grady check.
Bond check.
Bravo check.
Fire! All right! Hit that son of a bitch! Head out! Do your job! Do what you're here for!
Ideals are peaceful. History is violent.
Wait till you see it.
See what?
What a man can do to another man.
I'm scared.
I'm scared too.
It will end soon, but before it does, a lot more people gotta die.
Well, you know we do get $1.35 a day, right? Best job I ever had. Best job I ever had.
Best job I ever had.
They're coming.
How many?
300 of them. There's 5 against 300.
We never run before. Why are we gonna run now?
We're still in this fight. Still in this fight. Now.
I mean, it's all in the trailer. It's
Yeah.
Brad Pitt is the leader of this tank named Fury. Was it the 3rd Battalion, I think is?
I think so.
I think it's the 3rd Battalion. And they just lost their spotter or something like that.
He's the guy who runs the gun in the front,
Yeah.
right next to the.
They just
driver.
lost it in a battle that it starts really beautiful.
Yeah.
Where this here's the thing: is the way this movie shot is stunning.
Yeah.
The opening shot is literally a German soldier, general or something on a horse, surveying a battlefield.
Yeah, he just sort of crests this hill, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh, it's beautiful.
There's shadows and there's smoke, and he's just going by, and all of a sudden Brad Pitt jumps off of his tank and stabs him in the face with a knife.
Yeah.
And not like, oh, you see it off camera. No, like straight up gore.
Oh, yeah, this movie is really brutal. You see some things you were not expecting.
No. And he kills him, and it turns out those are the only guys who lived through this whole battle.
Right.
And they go back, and they get a new recruit named Norman, and he's played by Logan Lerman, who my niece has a huge crush on.
Yep. As do many people's nieces.
Yeah. I guess it's right, because was he Percy Jackson?
Yeah, I think
I think
so.
that's why my niece likes him.
Yeah.
My niece is 12, so I should point that out. So
Yeah.
seeing like a young man on screen who's like a hero, I'm sure
Yeah.
is why she has a crush on him.
Yeah.
And that's fine. He's a good looking kid. And so he gets in there, and he's just a typist, and he doesn't know what to do, and he gets going. And you're introduced to all the people that are in his battalion.
And they've been a tank crew. Like it's end of the war. They're in Germany, and these guys have been together since Africa. And there's even that line in the trailer where he says,
and see
we
the
fought our
rest
way
of-
across the whole world to get here.
And the rest of that speech is so good.
Yeah, it is.
Because, I mean, it's good in the trailer, but as it keeps on going, and he says, I'm guessing it's almost over, but until then, we have a job to do. And it's just, there's just so many great moments. Brad Pitt is really good in it. I do like him in Glorious Bastards more. But
Yeah.
it's a different movie.
Very.
So I can't really hold that against him.
Right.
But
But it is so close that there are a couple moments where you forget that it's not the
Yeah.
same guy.
But the thing that there's some of my issues with the movie is I didn't like some of the characters that they had to have. Shia LaBeouf plays, his nickname's Bible, so he's always quoting Bible verses.
Mm-hmm.
What we're doing here is a righteous act, Joe.
Then you have the Mexican guy, Gordo.
You hear me, Gordo? Mm-hmm. There's a Bible verse I think about sometimes. Many times. It goes, then I heard the voice of the Lord saying, whom shall I send? And who will go for us?
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the sleazeball played by John Bernthal. I don't remember his character's name.
Yeah.
What was his nickname?
Oh, I can't remember.
And I said, here am I. Send me.
I don't remember.
I kept thinking his nickname was Animal just because of that great scene at the beginning. Yeah.
But
Yeah, they do fall into stereotypes more than they should.
Isaiah chapter 6.
Yeah, but
Because I think they're well written,
they are.
but yeah.
But that's the part
I
that
hear what you're
irritated me.
saying.
I'm like, really? They have to be this way?
Yeah.
But you kind of forget about it when they're driving across the country and they get in this tank fight, and there's like strategy about taking out this German tank, and it's going back and forth, and they're firing, and it's intense. Like Logan Lerman, his character Norman, doesn't want to kill anybody,
Right.
and then that scene where they capture a German soldier and he's wearing a United States serviceman coat, and it's like, you kill that guy, and he won't do it, and then what's the name of Brad Pitt's character? Doug?
Yeah, Don.
Don. And he forces him to shoot this guy, and it's powerful. And
Yeah. Well, and unfortunately, you had missed a sequence right before that where they started off as 5 tanks. I just wanted you to know this scene because it's important. They started off as 5 tanks, and there was, I think you saw the scene where they had this lieutenant who was running them, who's this really young-looking guy.
Yeah.
So his tank was in the front, and as they're going along, there are some Nazi youths in the woods, and Norman sees them but does not shoot them, and they light that first tank on fire, and it is a brutal sequence where that lieutenant was sort of standing up in the tank, right? Mm-hmm. And he jumps out of the tank on fire, is like running like completely doused in flame, and falls on the ground, pulls out his pistol, and shoots himself in the head. And it's just absolutely brutal. And then Brad Pitt gets out and shoots the kids in the woods, and but that is where that scene comes. Like that sequence is sort of right after that.
That's where I came
the
back
end of
in.
that mission, yeah. And so that's you understand, I think, the reason why, because as sort of horrible as this sequence is, where Brad Pitt gets out and forces him to kill this guy, it is in reaction to the sequence where he tells him, he's like, you are going to get, like, he at the end of that scene, he tells Norman, like, you killed those people in that tank, like, it is your fault that they're dead, and the fact that you aren't willing to pull the trigger and kill these Nazis is going to continue to kill U.S. soldiers. So it's a great sequence, and it's things like that I think, like I was saying earlier, that sequence and that story to me are going to stick with me, as well as I actually the dinner sequence, that whole scene to me is a really well written and interesting thing that I've not seen in other World War II movies. I've seen brutal violence in World War II movies, and this one does it really well. But those are the sequences that really stuck out to me as just being something that I had not, a story I hadn't been told before. Because that whole thing where he takes Norman up and they one of the things that I think really defines great World War II movies are those quiet moments, right? The things between the violence. All of the scenes that I love from Saving Private Ryan are all the ones where there isn't any fight, right?
Oh yeah.
And not because of how brutal the fighting is, just because those are the ones where I learned those characters better, right? And that one to me is really interesting, especially where you've got these two guys who are there, and they're sort of. It shows you both sides of what the people living in the towns where U.S. soldiers were coming through probably experienced, right? Where sometimes they were getting the soldiers who were gonna share their eggs with them, and sure, maybe have sex with some of them, but do it in a very kind and loving way. And then you were also going to have the animals who come through and are like, just sort of tearing everything apart as they go. It's just a really neat sequence, and especially when Gordo tells the story about the horses. That's a very interesting, one of those neat details that things like that probably happened. And you just don't hear those stories very often, and especially to have it end with him just sort of like breaking down and going like, well, sorry, I'm drunk. Like, never mind. It's a really cool sequence.
Yeah. What were your problems with it?
So I think the biggest one for me is honestly that they spend the whole movie like convincing me that these tanks are really, really like not very good. It opens with a line where with his font on the top or at the beginning that says like, U.S. tanks were out armored and outgunned, and that like the Tiger tanks are just these horrible things that can just tear through everybody. And you've got the sequence where they fight a Tiger and it's like just blowing the shit out of everything, and you see all these people die, and it's just absolutely brutal. And then the climax of the movie is a whole sequence where they kill like. It's a fucking Rambo sequence. Like with one tank that is broken, they kill all the Nazis.
Most of them.
Yeah. It is both really satisfying, but every now and then something would happen where I'd be like, come on, guys.
Yeah.
Like, I watched one bullet take out an entire tank, or the sequence I described earlier where like 3 kids in the woods with a friggin' Molotov cocktail take out a whole tank, and then 200 300 Nazis can't take out one tank. They can't move. But it's a really cool sequence.
It is cool. I thought it was interesting too that the Nazis shot red and everybody else shot green.
I'm colorblind.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
Did they really?
Oh yeah, you could have seen
shit.
that. They had like a Star Wars moment where it had like fireworks when things would blow up. It had little like sparkly things go up.
Yeah.
And then the Americans, when they shoot, would be green, and then the Nazis were red.
Really?
Yeah, it's really interesting. It's an interesting style choice.
That's funny.
I forgot that you didn't even notice that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you're right. The movies, I mean, all the actors are really good. Everybody mentioned it shot well. But, when all those, spoilers, when all those guys die at the end, it's not like these long, save him. I mean, it's brutal.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like you get shot, you're dead.
Yeah.
I mean, Bible pokes his head up and just gets wasted.
Oh, yeah.
Doesn't even have a moment.
Yeah, like real quick sequences.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's not like... what's kind of nice about it is that with the exception of Brad Pitt, nobody has like this long moment where they like earn their death. So yeah, no, it's really cool.
It's
really
interesting.
cool. And that's sorry, but that scene when at the very end, Norman hides underneath the tank, and that scene when the Nazi like pokes down there and sees him, and then lets him go, like that alone is almost worth the movie because it's so interesting because that Nazi is what Norman started the movie as, right? Is this person who is merciful and would see somebody like that and say like, well, you know, I'm not going to do anything about it.
Yeah, too. And in my head too, I was thinking that I think the Nazis knew the war was over too.
Yeah,
you know, because maybe, but you're right. You know, he's looking at him and saying, "This guy's not a threat." He's
he's
cowering.
You see that guy, and you see a Nazi version of Norman, and like that, especially when you spent this whole movie where Brad Pitt is like convincing you that these people are evil and that it really is you or them, and that Norman's way of doing things doesn't work and is dangerous to the people around him. Then at the end, you get this very humanizing moment where there is a Nazi who's just like Norman, which is it's really smart.
It is because I think that's lost too. I mean, yeah, Nazis were horrible people, but at the end of the day, they're also just following orders.
Right.
I mean, even in the United States, if you're in a battlefield and you don't follow orders, you get killed for treason.
Right.
So I mean, there is that side that they don't ever explore. Is yeah, the Nazis were horrible people, but maybe not all of them.
And he even says there's a line where the one. That one general that they run into that's played by the British guy. Anyway,
Jason Isaacs.
Is that who it is?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. So that character at one point says, like, why don't they just stop fighting? And Brad Pitt says, would you?
Yeah.
And you go like, oh, right. Like, you're in Germany taking their land away from them and blowing up their churches because they hide people in them, but whatever. Blowing up all of their buildings. Like, of course they are not going to stop anytime soon.
But then, you get that satisfying when they're in that town and they have all those kids as soldiers, and Brad Pitt's like, up. Hey, is that piece of shit the SS who's been hanging those kids? I'm like, yeah, pull him out.
Yeah.
And they just freaking waste him.
Yeah, it's great.
And nowadays you couldn't do that in war. Because we saw, like, the lone survivor is, I mean, that's what war is now. There's so much politicalness about it. I mean, back then you're saying, oh yeah, that guy killed those kids, pull him out, shoot him, kill him.
Yep.
So, and even, when they shot that Nazi when he was giving up, someone in there would have told on the other guys. It's really interesting when you see how war was 70 years ago and where it's come,
right,
and how the world's changed.
Yeah. Well, and it's a lot. Yeah, I mean, there's a difference
I guess it's
between
weird when you say rules of war. But,
there's a difference between wars in Middle Eastern countries and world wars where you're talking about like millions of lives and like the stakes of the world.
It's interesting.
It sounds like something out of a comic book when or a sci-fi film to really be talking about like the entire world doing something
it's
all
interesting.
being a war at once. So
that part always fascinates me about those movies too.
Yeah.
It's war was different back then. Now you have to get tanks to go around them. Now we just drop bombs on them.
Right.
It's pretty fascinating.
Yeah. And I was glad that it didn't end with for some reason at one point I thought it was going to just have the like Saving Private Ryan ending where because they sort of foretell it earlier where they're on that field and then the bombs go and drop over the whole battlefield to make sure everybody's dead. I thought that's how it was going to end too, was that like they were going to be fighting in the tank and maybe a couple of them would die and then they would end up getting saved by planes coming
like that
in.
Was going to happen
like,
too.
Yeah, so I'm really glad they didn't do that.
And it was interesting too because it did end where they said, Norman, you're a hero, and out of all of them, maybe he wasn't the hero of it.
Right.
He just happened to be there.
Yeah.
And the heavy metaphor at the end was kind of obnoxious. The crossroads, and then that they held him down, and so stuff like that.
Yeah, it was a little convenient.
It's little things,
right? Yeah.
But overall, I mean, the movie's well shot. It's well made. I'll see it again eventually, I'm sure.
Oh yeah. And it's cool. I think that they don't drive it home as well as they could have, but I think what they're trying to get to at the end there is also this idea that was one of many, many tanks, right? And that there are a lot of stories like this one, so yeah, it's pretty neat.
So next week we're seeing something. I don't know yet.
Maybe
John Wick. Who knows?
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
It's Keanu Reeves killing people, whatever.
Yeah, or if we can, because we can't see Birdman, right?
Yeah, I think it's not till the 31st.
Okay.
Unless Alamo has it a week earlier. I don't know.
Oh yeah. We'll figure it out.
Men, women, and children, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. Bye.
See ya.
Visit our website, realnerdspodcast.com. You can tweet us at real_nerds. You can email us even, realnerds@gmail.com. Like us on Facebook. Hey, stream us on Stitcher. You want to call us? 720-6nerds5. And download us on iTunes. Just search Real Nerds. Thank you, Joe Kempter, for the wonderful voiceover. And also Spark Mandrill for the wonderful late-night jazz smooth sounds of movies. You can find them on SoundCloud. This has been a Nebulous Visions production.
Aww. I'm tiny and my insides are new and they don't know how to not hiccup.